I told Matthew, I said, I need to look at magistrates in the eyeballs. You know, the eyeballs on the screen sometimes don't have the same effect that we do as a team working together on a mission. With Nelsonn Fiscal Court will meet in closed session per KRS 61810 where deliberations on the future acquisition or sale of real property by a public agency, but only when the publicity would likely affect the value of a specific piece of property to be acquired for public use or sold by a public agency. And the second thing would be a closed session, KRS 61810-1C, where discussions of proposed or pending litigation against or on behalf of a public agency. The first order of regular business would be the minutes from the September 21 meeting. Guys had a chance to review those.
Make a motion to accept the minutes presented.
Motion by Keith Metcalf to accept the minutes. Is there a second to Keith's motion?
I'll second the motion.
Second by Eric. Further discussion? All approved say aye. Aye. Disapprove? Motion will carry. Next would be your bills and transfers. Any questions on any of the bills or transfers?
Motion to pay the bills as presented.
Motion's been made by Bernard Ice to accept the bills. Is there a second to Bernard's motion? Then we'll have discussion if you have questions.
I'll second.
Second by Jeb. Discussion, Gary, did I see?
The property damage claims on the boom mower, was that insurance or?
No,
Okay.
no, that was us. It was basically, we operate in a boom mower and a limb or something kicked out to a vehicle, even though they were guarding it. That's one that we had at the road department.
I have one more, but Joe's not here today. On this Medicaid Provider Fee, do you know anything?
You know, we've had that before. It's relatively new. We're getting much more money back from Medicare and Medicaid, but in doing so, you have to send, what was it? A service fee back to them.
5.5% of Medicaid billing for the past year. It's a formula.
So you have to pay 5.5% in order to get this money back?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a
Service charge, I guess.
Well, it's almost like at the landfill, you pay basically a fee. Environmental fee that goes to Frankfurt, and we get part of that back for our roadside cleanup.
Right, okay.
Yeah, we're getting about 60,000 more in revenue a month, but then paying back.
A month?
Yes.
So far.
Good.
Yeah, that's a big help.
Yep. That's all I've got.
Then it is relatively, about 3 months, I guess it's only been about 3 months. All approved, say aye.
Aye.
Disapprove? The motion will carry. Next order of business would be the farm leases that we auctioned off yesterday. Thanks to a great auctioneer that you had.
You did a fine job.
You got a report on it. I believe John sent you a report, and maybe I hope that
Here we got.
put one in your box. The Keeling Farm was $280 an acre, which most people tell me if you get 175 to 180, you're lucky. So I'm really pleased with that amount. Basically, it was two neighbors are kind of competing against each other, and we kind of kept them going. And then the Mattingly Farm leased to the what's it? 60? Hearst.
For $117 an acre.
But what's that comment? 69.20
Okay,
leased.
so it was originally 69, but we leased 22.
Okay,
The
that's
hay
right.
for the stockpile,
Okay.
so it's only 49.
Okay, 49 acres at $117. So
Is all those acres included, is that all croppable ground, or is some of that?
Okay, for the Keeling Farm, all that's croppable. For the Mattingly Farm, only about 21 acres is croppable. The other could be used for pasture, hay, anything. So that's why that value's
A
less.
lot less.
yeah, when they took all the dirt.
And then we tried something a little different this year. We tried to advertise, we did auction for the hay, baling of hay at the landfill, and we had nobody.
No bidders.
Somebody do that.
They said it was a lot more weeds and rougher than what they.
One of the people that were bidding yesterday said I'll mow it for it, but no, not get any money for it. So we'll see how we handle that.
Yeah.
Talked about offering it to our employees.
Offer something.
Have a resale, have a re-auction, and let them know that they can bid on it. Beforehand, they didn't show, they weren't here, we'll see how it goes.
It's a good value. If you don't get anything for it, it saves us time and diesel fuel from bush hogging it to
Oh,
clean
yeah.
2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah.
If you're feeding slop, it does make good, you know, my grandpa used to call it fodder fuel.
Yeah.
It's a pretty steep ground to be run over.
Yeah. But I would need a motion to approve the award to Keeling and Mattingly as presented.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Jeff, is there a second by Gary? All approve, say aye.
Aye.
Disapprove? The motion will carry. Just so you know, last year's lease on the Keeling farm was, 3 years ago, was $230, right?
$230.
$230.
230 and 90. So it went from 230 to 280 and 90 to 117.
Okay,
Jay,
next
just
word.
before you move on to the clarification on the bills, do we include transfers in there? I noticed we had some transfers there. didn't-
I asked.
Okay,
I asked,
all right.
when the time, did you make the motion? No, you made the motion.
No,
Just clarify that,
Fire than Jeff.
okay, that the transfers were in there as well.
The jail's gonna need that money.
The revised surplus equipment list, we added a couple of vehicles to the bottom of that. One was the Explorer that initially Joe had me pull out, the 2014 Explorer. And then Lincoln Trailhead Development District, we've done this for them before. They've got a vehicle they want to put in our auction, and we just transfer the money back over there. Let me just say this. The last time we had an auction, their 2 vehicles they sent over here brought real good money because they're well maintained. So anybody interested in a good used vehicle, that's probably the one to grab hold of. Anything else, Brad?
One other thing, if you guys remember, when we bought the dog warden truck here, what, 6-7 months ago?
Yeah.
We took that bed off, which is a full-size bed for a F-150, because we had to put a different box on it, right, for dogs and whatnot. I'd like to surplus that bed. If you guys have been down to my shop, I know some of you have seen it, and let's surplus it, and I may want to sell that on Gov Deals.
I think we'd be better off to sell that on Gov Deals.
But I need to surplus it. Dean, there is no VIN number,
No,
unit
I
number
understand.
on that bed.
Just surplus the truck bed. That's
Then
what
I'll
I
deal
said.
with it.
Now, more people will see
Make sure
it.
that's.
All the builders and all that, they'll
So,
see that.
this stuff here don't go to Gov Deals?
No, they're lower end stuff usually. When I say lower end, less than $1,500, $2,000 vehicles.
I got you.
Time to pay fees, it ain't worth it, you gotta deal.
I
And
see.
some of these things that's on this list probably may become scrap metal.
I got a question.
That's usually, yes.
What about this bush hog? Would we be better off to trade this bush hog out with you, John?
He's already got one.
We got one of those.
And they probably done snitched every part off if they could.
No. We bought 2, right? So we gave John 1, and this is the other one that we need to surplus.
Where's the one that you gave him part?
It wasn't my shop for the longest time because we was using it. Now it's back at his place.
When it broke down, they picked it up.
Yeah, I know that, but I'm talking about when we bought 2 new ones, what happened to your old one you had?
It's still at the landfill. We can surplus that too.
It's just sitting out there not being used?
I would include that
Let's add
too.
that in.
I would include that too.
Somebody for junk, you know?
Scrap metal's up right now.
It is
Has been. Everybody okay with adding that
I took
extra
a
bush
truck
hog
in
to
at
it?
$550 for it.
And then eventually I'll set a date.
Okay. Motion to approve the surplus equipment list with the added truck bed and the added bush hog.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Eric declaring surplus and advertise.
Second.
Second by Jeff. Any further discussion? All approve, say aye.
Aye.
Disapprove? Motion will carry. We're going to save number 3, and we're going to do that after we get all our reports done. Let's move on to the road department report, Lee.
Okay, we created a bus turnaround on B Head Road. We patched a couple areas of asphalt on Ritchie Lane. We repaired a ditch line on North Howard Street in Woodlawn Springs. We repaired a culvert on Petersburg Road near the intersection of Highway 62. Was having some problems there. We replaced a culvert on Sawmill Road, burner caught in a few weeks ago. We patched 2 large sections of asphalt on Channing Lane. And our mowing crews in District 1 on the 4th round. It should be going into District 3 soon. And our salt barn has been filled up for the year, and we purchased a total of 707 tons of salt.
So we got about a couple hundred that we could
roughly 300 tons in
Yeah.
reserve, but we can't fit it in.
Okay.
We're out.
But might, might need it down the road.
Right, right.
Okay.
Well, Jeff, they're paving in your area today on some of those roads, that are a little small ones on your list. And Bernard, you and I talked, I think maybe this week or next, is pending weather. They'll kind of be in your area because they're going to be Bellwood and kind of come off of that with some of yours. So that's where they're at the paving right now.
What about our discretionary money? Where,
Haven't heard from them.
most counties done got theirs.
Yeah.
Makes
Most,
my math-
most counties got all the emergency money they asked for too. Not, we say most. There's 120 counties. They gotta spread it around. I mean, they gotta make it,
Yeah, we're just getting into the fall. It'd be nice to have gotten it, where the roads wasn't wet and all that.
Speaking of emergency money, and I'm just gonna bring that up, you'll notice in tomorrow's paper, and 2 after that, it'll be for, Kentucky Division of Water requires us to put it in the paper, Gary, for Woodlawn Road and what we're doing down there. Once I get that, the permit will go up to Division of Water and Army Corps of Engineers, same thing I did with yours, Keith. And so the process has.
we're still waiting on it.
I saw, no, we got it back, right?
No, you got Division of Water.
Water,
You haven't got
oh,
Army Corps of Engineers yet. They usually take
I
state
think
water.
I'd like to go on and bid that as soon as we can get it, along with Gary's or whatever.
How long does it usually take for you to get those Corps engineers?
Division of Water typically is like 30 days after I submit it. Sometimes it's a little quicker. Yours is easier than Keith's because of the modeling, but, and then Army Corps of Engineers, you can add another 20 days on that top of it.
A little couple months.
Maybe more.
Yeah.
Maybe more.
I
It's
feel
been
like
more
yours
than
is
that.
probably a first of the
I've been
year
about 4
bid,
months.
probably. And maybe Keith's right. I've talked to his son about on D-head of, maybe we've been both at the same time. I don't know.
I'd like to get that in as soon as possible,
Oh, yeah.
Me too.
Me too. Me three.
All right, let's all get it done.
He's on me. Anything else, Lee?
No, it's.
Got road, okay. A landfill solid waste report.
Just a quick update on our force main project. Brad and I had a pre-construction meeting a couple weeks ago. We issued a notice to proceed, and we dated that for yesterday, October 4th. So they started mobilizing equipment last week and started yesterday. Started bringing out pipe and lining pipe out, and start fusing pipe this week.
Okay.
So get this
Need to
moving.
chain that pipe together, to keep somebody from stealing it?
We keep it locked up.
Okay.
While we're on the landfill solid waste, it is time again to do the roadside cleanup for the fall. And the one thing we want to make sure that we couldn't do last year because of COVID and other problems, we don't want to have to send money back to the state like we had to last year on the roadside cleanup. So sign-ups can start, if the media would help me with this, on October the 18th. Start calling and signing up. And you'll be able to get your groups in, and Carol will assign each of you. The other thing is we've got about, I think we've got about 60% of our money left that we were awarded, so we got a pretty good amount of money that we can give a few more miles. Be sure to tell your folks that.
You up the miles, we up the miles.
We up the pay.
Pay, yeah.
Pay. And that helped bring a few more people out. Hopefully it'll do it again. Derek's not here for recreation report.
I can do it, so,
Yeah.
because he's tied up. The gentleman, or the company that came in bid right, they actually began work yesterday on seal coating the parking lots. Yesterday's goal was to get them all cleaned up, the cracks cleaned out, seal crack it. Lee and I and Derek both went out and kind of watched them do it to make sure they're following the specs on it. Weather stays off of them, they're gonna keep going every day this week, but you know how that is. It looks like tomorrow's not a good day. Mago has paved the lower parking lot. If you guys know what I'm talking about, as you come in, there's a parking lot that kind of goes down below by the little T-ball field. So they paved that first, which
That's
is
good.
what I was after. So they wouldn't be running over top of our seal coating. So we'll see how this week goes, and we'll stay on top of them and then make sure they follow the specs.
How many seal coat that? I'm sorry. How many hours does it have to be on before?
So they're gonna put chemical in it that'll help it dry quicker. We're gonna block off, we're gonna do the different sections, Gary. So we got 3 different sections for that particular reason. They claim depending on weather and the sun, of course, has a lot to do with it. You're looking about a day and a half. If you get back on it. Hardest thing on it is people turn. That's when it wants to mark it up, scar it, I think is how they call that. So we've got it blocked off on the areas that they're due, then we open that area back up and go to the next area.
I was out there for a couple of games recently, I've been out there for a little while, and everybody was parking right, just trying to get to the field that their kids, their grandkids, were playing on. There was plenty of parking, plenty of parking.
But they're doing better about scheduling,
Yes.
I would say.
Yeah.
That they kind of,
I mean,
you know, but they're
third of
there a
the
week too. on
I
soccer.
mean, there
I
was
don't know if you have
2/3
that there or
of
not.
the spots were empty, but everybody was right by the fields where all the little kids were playing.
Hey, now I'm guilty of that.
Thank you for putting that rock.
I had Katie park and walk. I said, we walk anyway, just park. She was just like the rest of them. Don't quote me on that, please.
right.
What you gonna say, Keith?
That rock where you put into those two little entrances to that lower soccer field and you paved it too, that really needed that.
Yeah.
So thank you for doing
And
that.
we also, Judge approved some mulch for the playgrounds, for the different parks, you know, things Old Town.
I see we proved it on the
Right.
deal.
And that has to be a certified mulch, gentlemen, and it has to be a certain depth for safety purposes. So that's what that was about. It was time to do it. It was neat.
How many years has it been since you've done that? Several?
Yes.
I don't remember.
You don't remember?
That's a bad
You need to do
sign.
it more often then.
But I don't remember what I did a week ago sometimes, so don't take that, that's not a good measure.
My grandkids play out there all the time. They ain't got hurt, so they're good.
Yep.
Okay, jail report, Buck?
As of this morning, we had 109 inmates, 39 are state, 70 are county, 36 away from circuit court cases, 34 from district court cases, 89 males and 20 females. And we have, this Friday, we have 3 active cases of COVID. We'll test again tomorrow.
Any questions for Buck? Thank you. Under old and new business, I had sent you guys a list of animal control people's salaries. You know, we took over animal control from the Humane Society. How long has it been, guys? About a year? A year or so. And be honest with you, for the last year, it's run pretty darn good with Ashley and Royce and the Brooke and Christy taking care of things. I was embarrassed when I looked at the salaries that some of them were making. It's not near what we should be paying our employees. $11.76 an hour is what Humane Society was paying them. We took them over for that amount. And so I'm proposing to bring the salaries up a little closer, not perfect to where most of our other employees in the county are. And that would be $15 an hour for the part-timers, and $20 an hour for Ashley, who's the director of the shelter. She's right now at $17.12. And then Royce is still about $3 or $4 under what Larry Winsett was when he was the animal control officer. And Larry's been gone several years. Did you see the list that you get?
We didn't get that.
You didn't by email?
Did you?
I got it on email.
Yeah, okay. You want me to pass it around? I swore I sent you guys. You said you got it by email?
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, okay. I should have printed you out one today, I'm sorry. But basically, I want to bring those people up more in line, not hardly yet, with what our other employees are making.
Is that's something you can do as an executive decision?
Not really, you guys need to prove that.
I'll make a motion to pay the,
Motion's been made by Bernard Ice to bring them up to that level as presented. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second the motion.
Second? Any questions, comments?
How much more are we talking per?
It's about, the total is about $14,500 plus benefits.
28, 29?
Added budget.
It's about 22, 23. Because it depends on their health insurance, what
What
policy
did you
they
say about the
take.
budget?
Where are we gonna pull that out of the budget?
We got about some money in reserve account. Oh, I wouldn't have, I knew Mr. Lear would have been the one that would have looked at me. And if I didn't have an answer for it, I would have been in trouble. Right, Rhonda?
Correct.
I always go to Rhonda actually helped with that, so. Okay? Yeah, we vote on that? All approve, say aye. Disapprove. The motion will carry. Thank you all. Well deserved. If you get a chance, go out there and see.
I've been out there.
The center and see how she moves. And she not only helps with the adoptions of the animals and so forth, but she helps clean up the place and feed the animals. And but the adoptions are going real good. That's been a big asset. When I say adoptions, they're going to the rescue centers. And many of these dogs, for the public's knowledge, are going up north. There must be a shortage of dogs in the big cities for some reason. But they're going up north and they're adopting them out.
Do we transport those so far and then they meet
It
us?
depends, each case is a little different, but the Humane Society's got a transport van. But most time they'll meet them, say, at Lexington or Cincinnati or wherever it is, halfway. Usually it's a halfway thing when it is. Okay, under any, you guys have any other old or new business before we go up to the American Rescue Plan Act?
In your EMS report?
Joe was out today, he did not send a report. Okay, next order of business would be, and I put this on the list to discuss with the magistrates, and I moved it down to the bottom, but it looks like it's going to have a little bit more time consuming. That's the reason I moved it to the bottom before we go into closed session. The American Rescue Plan Act provides for what they call premium pay for essential workers. Now, the essential workers can be described in a lot of different ways. I'm proposing to take the county employees and using 3.7% of our total allocation of the 10.7 to provide the county employees with $1 per hour pay for the last year, actually from March 2020 to March 21. And that initial cost would cost the county on the base rate $301,346 thereabouts. Take a dollar or two, and then we put your benefits on top of that. It makes a total of about $406. And I don't think there's any better way we could spend a portion of that money. I have provided to the court a general outline of you guys received this probably a few weeks ago. It's probably by email. You may not have printed it out. But in that, I have included premium pay for the county employees. And it has to be done by, according to Rich Ornstein, by ordinance. And I'm going to open it up for discussions. I know you guys have heard this. Some of you like it, some of you don't like it. I can tell by body language a lot of times.
You said 406, I think you, probably was 440, wasn't it?
Well, that was just an estimate.
The 440 was, or the 406?
406 is exact.
Exactly.
But now it may change when we got a few other employees, like county attorney has a few employees that works for the county. We got your employees in there. We got yours, Raymond's got all of yours, including your office staff.
EMS.
Okay,
EMS, yeah.
I have another question. The deputies under the sheriff's payroll, are they considered county employees
We've
also?
included those, we do their payroll.
So you can include them?
Yep.
Other than the ones by fiscal court, is that correct?
Yep.
Does this include the salary employees?
Salary employees, yes.
You?
No,
No.
not elected
No elected
officials. No elected officials.
Well, me was next, so.
Sorry.
I've seen in your email, you saying that the proposed amount it just amounts to 3.7%. Is that correct?
Of the total 10.7 allocated to the Nelsonn County. And I refigured it a couple of times, and I sent it over to Rhonda, and she refigured it. It didn't look right to me. It looked like it was a little more than that, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
When you looked at the big picture.
I never got an answer to my question about is this eligible for all essential workers or just county workers?
When I sent you a copy of, or Carol sent you a copy of a revised ordinance that said county government workers.
Well, that was not the question.
It is, not our
I mean,
money,
like
but the
private.
governor last night has proposed $400 million to do the same for essential workers like hospital workers and doctor's offices, grocery store clerks and so forth.
Is he doing it for his workers?
I don't know.
And county workers?
All the state workers?
I don't know that. I don't know what
Well,
it's.
why are we doing this? Why do you feel like this needs to be done?
Well, we have a workforce that,
And so does Heaven Hill, Fuji Seal, and
I just felt like that our employees have done a great job during the pandemic. They've done, I mean, we were open, the jail, the sheriff, the ambulance, we didn't work from any home. We were all in here working.
So was Kroger's, so was Medicaid.
And they got an incentive pays.
Not a government check from us.
Yeah, non-taxpayer pay.
I understand.
Well, you know,
Go ahead, Eric. Yeah.
you know, I fought with this in my mind when this first was proposed, and I thought.
We talked about it 4 or 5 months ago.
I mean, I was the same way. I thought, you know, the first thing you're going to get is backlash about, you know, like you said, these other different organizations. And, you know, a lot of things I heard during the pandemic that people were saying was, people are getting paid to stay home. Now, I have to work, and nobody's paying me to work. And
Who
they felt,
got paid to stay home? Who do you know?
well, most people got that.
Stimulus checks.
Exactly, man. They had stimulus checks to stay home to keep everybody, when the pandemic first kicked off. The only people that didn't was emergency services, essential services, like grocery stores. Everything else was shut down.
Heaven Hill, they were.
And, well, they had to if they were considered essential services. Now, they probably also got a big stimulus check. And if they don't give it to their employees or benefit them for it, then that's on them, really. So I, in my mind, I'm thinking, this is what part of that money was supposed to be for, you know? It's 3.7% of the total amount of the Rescue Act money.
I don't disagree with that, but I think part of it was for essential workers, not just county essential workers.
Jeff, everybody became an essential worker when we did not choose to take workman's comp or go and take the unemployment line.
You couldn't have
Like
took
a lot of
workman's
people,
comp.
Okay? We were asked to continue to work every day, and we did. We were going into the unknown of a pandemic, of a virus that some guys and some people got it and got it bad.
I understand.
So-
I'm not diminishing the contribution that you all made, but.
But it goes
community did as well.
to, I guess my question to you would be, is it just first responders? Because it's not. Everybody else worked their butts off. Wow.
I agree.
Well,
So
hey,
that
Raymond,
would be my
why
question.
don't you let them discuss, then we'll call for the department heads and make it, please, just try to keep it.
Well, I'd like to make a statement. First of all, I would like to make it very clear that all the fiscal court employees have done an excellent job, and I want to thank you. And I've discussed with the judge several different equations on what I thought might be fair of doing something. I just have a hard time giving taxpayers money away when no other employer is doing it.
They got the money, Keith.
How do you know they got the money?
There's a list of people that got money. There's a list of businesses.
Well, I haven't seen it. I need to
You
get
haven't seen it?
educated.
I'll get it to you.
I need to get
Yeah,
educated.
you'll be shocked.
You'll be shocked. Huh?
You'll be shocked at how
another
much
thing
money stimulus
about
money
this,
people
You'll be
got.
shocked to the.
And if they don't share it with their employees, that's shame on them to me.
Well, another thing about this is federal money, and you said Rich Ornstein gave you an opinion. I do not have nothing in black and white that says this is legal. All the conferences we went to, it all said, you know, we always was up there for bridges and more blacktop money and everything else. Hey, what all can we spend this money on? What's legal? The only 3 things they ever told us was broadband, water, and sewer. It was never mentioned essential.
I sent you a copy of that, Keith.
I remember Rich talking about that.
I sent you a copy of the permissible, from Rich Ornstein.
I seen where you sent me the email.
Email
where
that
you
Rich
got
sent me.
Rich's opinion, but Rich is Frankfurt, and this is Washington's money. My great grandkids' money is the way I look at
And
it.
it's every county employee's money as well.
How many counties in the state of Kentucky has done this?
I don't know.
Marion County's one of them.
Boulder County's getting ready to do it.
Marion County's got about
Breckenridge
50
County is doing it.
employees.
It's coming across the.
If the state is doing this, are we gonna give the county workers our part and the state will kick in their part also, so it'll be 2 times?
Well, you're asking me things I really can't answer.
I just,
I'm
Well, I
taking
mean,
care,
that's
I'm
something
looking
you-
at what the money we receive and how to best allocate it. And I think allocating this, a portion of that money to our employees is important. You know, morale all over the nation right now is not good in the workplace. There are people walking away from jobs. To have trained, qualified people in the positions that we have, and I really believe we have good departments and teams. Now, we may have our disagreements, but I really believe, and you start letting some of those seasoned people walk away, And it's just a thank you more than anything. And it's their money too. It's my money. All of our money. It's not, the government is the people.
That's true.
It's every taxpayer that would be getting one of these things, every county employee that's be getting one of these is a taxpayer just like all of us.
And really, human infrastructure is part of the cog that makes this government work. And if you're gonna say thank you, that's one thing, but putting words into action, to me, is totally different when you're working behind that garbage truck, when you're policing, when you, whatever you're doing. It's easy to pat them on the back, say you're doing a heck of a job, but nothing says more than we're committed to you just as well as we are.
What's
to
easy is giving money that, giving money that we don't have to account for. If you really want to thank them, take some of your blacktop money and give it to them. Take
Well,
that out of
that's-
our general fund and stuff.
Right, but this money was dedicated for that, right?
When was it dedicated for?
It was dedicated for that. It was
You went to
dedicated.
the
for
same
that.
conferences we went to.
They talked
mentioned it.
about premium pay in that last meeting at the conference. Rich Ornstein's meeting, that last meeting, me and Gary was in there, they talked about the premium pay. And at that time, I was thinking what might be a good incentive to do, instead of like adding $1 on there, is give them incentive to go get vaccinated, give them a certain amount of money, like some other places.
But if you remember, Rich also said, be very careful how you do this.
How you word it.
Exactly,
Yeah.
how you word it, because it could be worded differently.
Keith asked me the counties, let me give you the list that I've found so far that have given the money, and are going to give the money. Boyd
It
County,
really don't matter. And we're Nelson County, and I really don't care what the county does.
we are stewards of this federal money. And the accountability is that whatever decision we make, we have to stand behind it. And so I do feel some accountability on this money.
Was there any way we can table this until I get some further educated on it and some more black and white print instead of an opinion from Rich Ornstein, which he is Frankfurt, he's not federal dollars? And that's what you're asking us to give away is $500,000 worth of
You're making up
federal
excuses
money.
for something that you don't want to do.
Well, I'm not
It's a
educated
delay
on it.
tactic.
You may be educated on it, because like you said, you've
I
talked
sent you
about it.
everything that I've received just about.
I have never received nothing in
Can we
black and
ask our
white.
county attorney opinion? Would you like to give an opinion on legality of this?
Yeah, I think what the judge is referring to is there was guidance issued from, the IRS, some division, that said premium pay is permissible. It's buried on like page 115 to 190, but it certainly, under the guidance that was issued, allows premium pay, yes. I'll look to now,
What
that's
about,
guidance? That, I mean, who knows, they may try to come back and change it. I don't think they've had time to promulgate any official legislation on it, but yeah, the guidance was it is permissible.
What about our auditor, Rhonda?
Right.
Like, how's this ever, you've never experienced this before, so a change of opinion may come up between now and the time we get audited? And then how we ever gonna get 400 and, what'd you say, 400?
What Rich Ornstein just said is that if the county were to do the premium pay based on the date when that occurred, if down the road the U.S. Treasury changes the final regulations and says that the premium pay is not legal, not valid, that we would be audited under the rule that was in place at the time that we did it. So right now, the premium pay is considered legal to do. According to the U.S. Treasury, the U.S.
Okay, is Rich Ornstein, will he go to bat for us when we have this audit?
I believe you would.
That's what he gets paid to do.
And
We employ him.
He works for us.
He works for us.
Yeah.
That we would be audited under the rule in place at the
You're
time
muddying up the waters.
that we gave the money.
It-
And if it changes,
We'll also talk to Rich, he said proceed with caution.
correct.
Well, it's attorney for it.
Correct.
Excuse my language. Excuse my language, I'm sorry. I forgot you were in the room. Okay, here's some of the guidance. I know
Why
it.
didn't you send us that so we
You
could
got
get
it
educated
somewhere
on it?
online.
I have never received that.
It's in our
Hey,
back,
did he?
county line. Is that
Yeah, it's on the
line?
county line.
Yeah.
It's on, you get that same thing I do from Keiko, and you get so many of them. It's Jennifer Burnett and Shelley Hampton, they send this stuff out all the time. It says, the bill outlines the funds may be used to respond to workers performing essential work during the COVID-19 public health emergency by providing premium pay to eligible employees, so forth and so on. We're mudding up the water, yes or no. That's what. Now, if you don't like it, that's one thing. But to look for a legal excuse to wiggle out of a vote is not good.
I'm not looking for a
Well, we
legal
just want,
excuse to wiggle out
we want to do it
anything.
legally, of course. We need to know the legal aspects of the law, and that's what, Matthew has read it and said, it's good.
I'm not worried about the legality.
I understand. Any other discussion?
What, this essential worker bonus from the state, they said it'd be announced in 7 or 10 days. Do we double up on it, give them this and then give them that?
That's what I asked.
Let me just say this. I figured it up for what they're proposing, the $400 million. If you had 800,000 people in the Commonwealth that gets a check, that $500 would be the maximum they could get. And if you can break that down even further, if it goes to $1 million and so forth. So I think it's more of a token of appreciation, I guess, for lack of a better term. As far as the state money, I think it'll be so incidental when you spread it out to the grocery store workers, and the drugstore workers, and everybody that did that. I don't know how they're going to do it. If you'll read what the governor sent out last night, it's they're going to form a team and see how they can come up with the best way to spend it.
Well, you with your $500, I proposed to you what? One time I came to you with $250. One time I came to you with $400.
Yeah.
$1 an hour. You never really gave me a response back, whether you thought it was fair or not fair. And then all of a sudden we get this. You want to give $2,000 to each worker. Is that correct?
It depends on if you were part-time, you don't get it. You get the hours that you work.
How many employees are there going to be?
160,
60, hang on, 165.
yeah, 165. The average worker is going to be about $1,800 and some odd dollars on the base pay.
So you're adding
I'm dividing, I'm putting the part-time in with the full-time.
25% for benefits and
We got the exact number. It's actually 30. It's actually, of that base, it's actually 30, a third, 33%.
34%?
Yeah. 406 is the total, including the benefit.
Gotta pay $100 to give 75.
It's part of life.
Is that a wise decision though?
I mean, that's, well, why would we pay them anyway? Yeah, I mean, you use that scenario though. No disrespect intended there.
Well, how can you disrespect me? So I was trying to weasel
Because
out.
we disrespect each other, just disrespectfully.
Can you put that on black and white?
I don't think I can repeat it the second time, Dave. I will make a motion to approve the ordinance on first reading and advertise for a second, as presented.
I second. You'll make the motion.
Yes, that's how strong I believe in this. Bernard Ice, second. Any further discussion? Good discussion, by the way. All approved, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Disapprove? Disapprove? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you all. I understand. Okay. Any other regular business other than old news before we go into closed session? At this time, entertain a motion to go out of regular session and into closed session per KRS 61810 and 61810 1B and C, where deliberation or future sale of real estate by a public agency, but only when the publicity would likely affect the value of the property. And then the other is discussions of proposed or pending litigation against or behalf of a public agency. We'll take 5 minutes to use the restroom. If I can get a motion.
I'll make the motion to go into closed session.
Motion been made by Eric.
Second.
Second by Jeff. All approved, say aye. Aye. Disapprove? The motion will carry. Clear the courtroom, please. Okay, you ready? Okay, at this time, entertain a motion to go out of closed session and back into regular session.
I'll make that motion, go out and close, back in the regular.
Motion been made by Gary. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Second by Keith Metcalf. All approved, say aye.
Aye.
Disapprove? He's always late. Disapprove? Motion carries. Motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn by Bernard Ice,
I'll second the motion.
second by Eric. All approved, say aye. Motion carries.